When most people think about preaching in front of hundreds or thousands of people, they get a little overwhelmed. In fact, the number one fear in the whole world is public speaking. It's a good thing that Jesus doesn't intend to only use a few select leaders who are particularly gifted in public speaking to be used by him in his plans for redemption. He wants to use everybody. I love that about Jesus' big strategy. But what exactly is that strategy? How do we take this message and actually spread it to the ends of the earth so that it becomes like the vision in Genesis? In the model of Jesus, we see more clearly what is God's big strategy for reaching the world. And this is kind of what I like to think about it as. Jesus loved the multitudes. He was feeding the 5,000. He was speaking to large groups and preaching and teaching. Everyone he came in contact with, he was showing love. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son. He loved the multitudes. Then we get a picture of Jesus in the Gospels ministering to some. We see him touching somebody with his hand and healing them. We see him being attentive to the needs of a woman who touched him. And he said, "Who touched me?" We get stories throughout the Gospels of his interactions with people like Zacchaeus, where he said, "I want to come to your house today." He ministered to some of them for a short period of time, and then he seemingly moved to another town or moved on. But one of the things we also see about Jesus is that he trained a few disciples. He went deep with 12 people with the hopes that they would take this message to the ends of the earth. In Matthew 28:19-20, we get a picture of Jesus telling the disciples, "Now it's your job to go and make disciples." This is what it says. "Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." So the invitation of Jesus to the disciples was to go and make disciples. And so these 12 were supposed to go and spread the word just like Jesus had done with them. Find people who are interested, who are hungry. Spread the message. See who receives it. And for those who do, go deeper and multiply and replicate what Jesus had done with them with the person that they are now going to pour into. Have you ever wondered why Jesus spent so much time with so few people? What was his plan? What was the idea behind training a few so deeply? Well, the people that he loved on, who knows if they would have responded or not long-term to the call of Christ? The people that he ministered to, I hope that many of them went on and became active and engaged disciples, but we don't hear a whole lot from them, right? After they fall out of the story. But the people that he trained, the people that he went particularly deeper with, passing on the ways of God, living them out in front of them, spending time with them in such a unique and personal way, they would truly have experienced Jesus in a way that would be transformational. They would take this message far and wide wherever God called them to go. They would be able to not only be disciples, but to make disciples who would make disciples, and so on. I remember when I first started discipling my friend that I mentioned earlier, I was passing on what I had received, all the while knowing that one day I would ask him to pass on what he had received to someone else that he could disciple. And so Jesus is inviting us into his big strategy of loving the multitudes, ministering to some, but not forgetting to train a few. That is the key piece to make sure that this message truly does spread far and wide as God intends. This is the Great Commission that we get to join God in.